Now, I'll be honest, I never really had a problem with singing and playing guitar at the same time. Singing and playing guitar in tune, well, that's a whole nother story. Now, it's not because I was a musical genius or I had talent oozing out of every single little pore in me. See, learning guitar was hard for me and I put a hell of a lot of effort into it. I'm definitely not a natural, not one iota. I just worked at things, I worked very hard at doing things. But here's the key. I worked on things that I absolutely loved, and I think that's what helped me do things naturally. And it was the kind of also the type of music that I listened to. The fact that I knew those songs backwards, I could sing along to them, I could sing along to the records, I knew all the lyrics, the melodies, even the backing vocals. All of that made this easier for me when I came to learning the guitar and singing at the same time. And I've been thinking about how I can share this with you in a hopefully not too complicated way, because I know many people have trouble putting the two skills together. And by the end of this beginner guitar tutorial, you're going to see exactly why singing and playing at the same time is not as hard as you think, and how one simple chord progression is going to open up hundreds of songs for you to sing to, even if you've always felt like you've had two left hands and two right voices. If that makes sense. So let me show you what I'm getting at here. Now, this is the chord progression we're going to use. It's the 12-bar blues. And I've just put it here simply. This is like the template for it, okay? So you've got chord number 1 for 4 bars, chord number 2 for 2 bars, back to chord number 1 for 2 bars, and then we have the last 4 bars where it's chord 3, chord 2, and then chord 1. And this is really cool because I think once you learn that, it's gonna make this much easier to sing and play to. And I'll explain this as we go. So how does this translate? Because you're probably looking at those numbers and thinking, well, what the hell is chord 1? What the hell is chord 2? Well, here are the chords that we're gonna use, all right? Chord number 1 is gonna be G, chord number 2 is gonna be C, and chord number 3 is gonna be D major. So we're using 3 beautiful beginner guitar chords. So we've got G, and this is the way that I play G major, like this, with my 4th finger, 3rd finger, and 2nd finger. This is my C major chord, and I think we all play this the same. This is my D major chord, and all of the chord shapes are on the screen like that, as you can see. And obviously when we're playing these chords, we do want to make sure that we are getting nice, clean sounds. So let's put this into the chord progression, okay? So as I say, chord number 1 is G, chord number 2 is C, chord number 3 is D. So let's play through this now. I'm just going to play it once through so you can hear how it goes. And I'm not going to play anything fancy, nothing flash, just a simple down strum. Maybe I'll add a few ups, but there's going to be nothing complicated. 1, 2, 3, 4. And feel free to join in. C. Back to G. So as I said, nothing fancy, nothing clever. This is just one of, I think, the most fundamental chord progressions of all time. So just a simple rhythm there, and this is just emphasizing that the rhythm guitar part doesn't need to be clever, but it does really need to be steady, especially if you're singing along, or someone is singing along to your playing. So let's have another run through together, just the two of us. Now that you've seen the chord progression, you've seen the chords, you've heard my little demo of it, let's do it together, okay? Now, I don't want you really to be worrying about perfection or speed just yet. just try and focus on smooth transitions, and then we're going to move into the songs and the singing. 1, 2, 3, 4. C. See, a simple strumming pattern, simple rhythm is just as effective as anything flash. And the thing I like about that chord progression is the simplicity of the chords, like 4 bars of G, 2 bars of C, 2 bars of G, and then D, C, G. And this simple chord progression, I played it so often that it became totally ingrained in here. And that's part of the, I think, part of the solution for when you try to play guitar and sing at the same time. Because when you know the chord progression, that's kind of like, I think 70% of the problem taken care of. Because you know, when you open a book up and you look at the chords, you see the melody, you see the words, you think, oh, okay, I've got to put all this together. But if you know the chord progression, you're sorted nearly. And the 12-bar blues is a beautiful chord progression. It's powerful, it's versatile, and it's used in so many songs. And the version we're using here is very, very simple. I think it's probably the most basic version, but sometimes you will see in bar 2, you might play the C chord for 1 bar, then go back to the G, and then the final bar will be a D before it repeats. But this one here, I think, is the bones of the 12-bar blues. And it's used in blues, hence the name. It's used in rock and roll. And as I said, I love this progression. It made life easier for me, as I didn't have to learn any complex chord progressions when I was learning songs. But again, how does this help? Now, I've mentioned before that these are songs that I love and I knew them really well. And having a simple chord progression really helps because there's less to think about. You know, the more things you have to worry about, the more difficult it is to put together the singing and the playing. And it's not just the chords. And many of the songs that I loved also have simple melodies, and they often kind of repeated themselves. So you didn't have to learn anything complicated for the singing. And this combination, a simple progression, a simple melody, I think is truly what makes putting your voice and the guitar together so much easier. And the songs I'm kind of alluding to, and maybe you've seen Buddy there, the songs that I'm alluding to are rock and roll songs. Yeah, songs from the late 50s, some early 60s songs too. And this chord progression is used in so many of those songs. Now they might use different chords, you know, maybe they'll use A, D or E or C, F and G, but the progression is always the same. Chord 1 will always be, for example, G, chord 2 will always be C, chord 3 will always be D. And some songs, for example, Hound Dog by Elvis, Ooby Dooby by Roy Orbison, CC Rider, See You Later Alligator, Long Tall Sally, I'm Tore Down, Crossroads, Sweet Home Chicago, and one of my favourites, Slippin' and a-Slidin. These are all using a version of the 12-bar blues. And those melodies for those songs are pretty simple, and often parts of the melody are repeated. And I think this brings us to one of the most common pain points, and that is timing. It's all about, you know, when do you come in singing as well? And that often trips people up. You know, well, where do I start? Now, we're going to talk about a couple of these songs, and I want to show you how we can do this, because I think it's kind of easier than you think. But I must stress that it's easier than you think, especially if you know the songs really well. Let's take the song Slippin' and a-Slidin. Now the great thing about this is that the melody starts on the first beat of the bar. So I'm going to play through this, and what I want you to listen out for is first, obviously, how it starts on the first beat of the bar, and also how the melody and the lyrics just repeat. It's a very common thing in blues and rock and roll. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slippin' and a-slidin', peepin' and a-hidin', been told a long time ago. Slippin' and a-slidin', peepin' and a-hidin', been told a long time ago. I've been told, baby, you've been bold, I won't be a fool no more. So you hear simple strumming, nothing flash. The melody, it starts off with slippin' and a-slidin', so that comes in right on the beat, the first beat, so you're singing and strumming at the same time. Now the melody, the lyrics are the same, slippin' and a-slidin', peepin' and hidin', been told a long time ago, or something like that. And then it just repeats. So again, making the brain have to do less work. And the fact that also is the melody is the same for those lyrics. It doesn't actually change. Makes things nice and easy. The next song is Freddie King's I'm Tore Down. Great bluesy song. And it's slightly different. It's not the very first word that you hear on the beat, but it's the word tore. And it goes something like this. 1, 2, 3. I'm tore down, I'm almost level with the ground. Said I'm tore down, I'm almost level with the ground. Well, I feel like this when my baby's not around. And it's got the same sort of thing like Slippin' and a-Slidin'. I'm tore down, I'm almost level with the ground. Tore down, I'm also level with the ground. So you got the first part, kind of the first half, or maybe a bit more of the song, or the chorus, or the verse, or whatever it is, which is repeated. The lyrics are repeated, the melody is repeated. So there's not a lot that you really need to think about. It's not a complex chord progression, it's not a complex melody, which is so good, and it makes the singing and the playing together much easier. Another great classic is Little Richard's Long Tall Sally, which is a great tune, also done by the Beatles. And did you know that McCartney did it in one take on their version? And again, same chord progression, G, C and D, same chords. And this time slightly different, because only slightly, because it says Little Richard or Paul, they come in with I'm gonna, and then it's the word tell. I'm gonna tell Aunt Mary. So like this, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna tell Aunt Mary about Uncle John. He says he got the blues, but he has a lot of fun, oh baby. Yeah, now baby. Ooh, baby, some fun tonight. God, my version almost sounds as ropey as the Kinks version. But the thing about that one is you've got that I'm gonna tell Aunt Mary about Uncle John, but then you have the last part with lots of ooh babies, ooh baby, ooh baby. You know, so again, not much happening there, but easy enough for you to be able to follow with your strumming, follow with your singing, and being able to remember the lyrics as well. But what if you can't remember the lyrics? Well, something else you could try is humming. And so, I don't think this is that much fun, but it'll help you through. You could go so you could hum the melody, which is kind of nice. As I say, I like screaming and shouting the lyrics myself, even if I get it wrong. But humming the melody might give you a chance to as an in into the song. So it's not about having complicated counting. It's truly about having that song ingrained in your head, knowing when those key words or phrases of the melody land against the guitar beat. That's why I think picking songs you absolutely love and you love singing in the shower makes all the difference. I think the combination of the simple progression and the simple melodies and also the simple lyrics allows kind of both the playing and the singing to eventually go onto autopilot, because you become very familiar with this. And I think that the 12-bar blues chord progression is super cool because it's simple enough to remember, and it's something that it's the first thing that you really need to practice over and over again. Once you've got that chord progression worked out so that you're just able to do it without looking at a chord, without looking at whatever you've written down, when you have it in here and you can just do it, that means that the singing part will become a little less stressful, a little less complicated. And so the 12-bar blues chord progression, right, it's pretty much the same all the way through. And one of the things is, once you've been playing it for a long, long time, it becomes so ingrained in your brain that you can talk and chat over it while you're, playing the progression. Just kind of like what I'm doing right now. Okay, I'm probably speaking a little bit faster than normal, but I can just play this and the changes feel so natural. And I could probably do this in my sleep as well. And it's probably one of my favorite things to do in the whole wide world, just playing a 12-bar blues. Be a fool no more. And even as I was talking, I could hear in my head, I could hear the melody of Slippin and Slidin, Slippin and a-Slidin. So the first thing I would definitely recommend is choose a song that you really love. But having said that, I would also get you to learn the 12-bar blues, learn this chord progression, because there are so many rock and roll tunes that you can play with this progression. And as I said, there are variations, but you could just play this particular one. So for example, also Sweet Home Chicago from the Blues Brothers film, you could play that with this chord progression. Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go back to the same old place, sweet home Chicago? Now the actual chords are slightly different, but you can cheat and use the same one. Same with Crossroad Blues. I think Cream definitely do a great version of it, but it's a Robert Johnson tune. I went down to the crossroads, tried to flag a ride. I went down to the crossroads, tried to flag a ride. I beg the Lord above for mercy, take me if you please. Now that one there also has a slightly different chord progression, but you can make it fit in this particular version, this really basic version of the 12-bar blues. I think that's the amazing power of just 3 chords and one simple chord progression to get you singing and to sing along literally to, I think, hundreds and hundreds of songs. But I think the most important thing really, at the end of the day, this should be fun. Absolutely. Don't turn this into a chore. Don't make this like housework. Don't take it too seriously. It's okay to make mistakes, because that's how we learn, isn't it? So just enjoy the process of putting your voice and your guitar together. You know, you don't need to be a natural, you don't need to be the most talented human being in the planet. And you just need to try it. You just need to have a go and give yourself to the music, right? Have a laugh along the way too. And if those G, C, and D chords still feel a bit tricky, don't worry at all. I've put together a 7-day total beginner guitar course, which is specifically designed to get your fingers moving and working comfortably with those chords. You can find a link down below in the description. And if you're looking for personalized help, I also offer live one-to-one tutorials on a fantastic platform called Till. Check that down below there. Now remember, every single guitarist that you admire has been where you are right now. Just keep practicing, keep at it, keep working on your chords, enjoy the journey, and most importantly, have fun with your music. So let me know what was your biggest aha moment from this video, and drop a comment down below. And I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Happy strumming. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound